I have completed 22 sketchbooks, and the easiest way to get in the rhythm and fill pages fast is to make pretty pages you're proud of. That's what will fuel your creativity. But how? Well, today I'm going to show you 9 ways to make your sketchbook aesthetic so that you can complete that one sketchbook that's staring you down. It's not going anywhere. You know the one. Well, okay, number 1, mix up texture. And to do this, why don't we spice up this little drawing here? Reach for some color pencils to add to what's already down, which is the water-based marker. There are so many different ways that you can add texture to a piece. Color pencils and pastels just naturally have a lot of texture. They're not smooth like water-based mediums or alcohol-based mediums, so you can very easily add interest to a page, especially if you then combine it with a different medium that has texture, something like acrylic or acrylic markers, or maybe a thicker medium, something like oil paint if you wanted to. And it's not just about reaching for that one medium, it's about mixing those textures together, something smooth with something rough. You can also use this with different papers, or even something like tissue paper, especially if you scrunch it up. If you were going to combine something like water-based markers or alcohol markers with a little bit of acrylic and a bit of color pencil, that could add a lot more interest to your sketchbook and really make the page stand out. That's the 3 color pencils done. Moving on, what about gouache? Oh, just ignore that. These are the gouache brush pens that I made before in a Daily Doodle Diary episode. I'll leave it below if you want to check that out. The playlist is actually super full. It's been going for years now. And gouache is a fantastic way to also add texture. It's like watercolor but thicker. And with these mediums, you can also use the dry brushing technique, which is what we're using here. Experimenting and playing about. We have 3 different mediums on this one page, and it definitely looks interesting. It looks unique. You can add metallics to a page or even alcohol. That's how I created these 2. And then if you mix it up using a different art supply on a different page, like how matte this gouache looks, or using a metallic gel pen, maybe a highlighter, switching up different mediums in the same sketchbook adds intrigue. This painting here I actually created outside. You can see all of these little water drops in the watercolor because it actually started raining, and I love creating abstract pieces like this. So why don't you reach for some different mediums in the same sketchbook? Number 2, reuse the same colors. And for this, I want to try and make this piece a little bit more interesting. We could reach for a mild liner. They're like pastel highlighters, not super smooth, but adding another red and gray is a super simple color palette that might just work. Unfortunately, mild liners are an acquired taste. They look a little bit patchy, but it is making this piece more dramatic. It's actually standing out on the page now, and sometimes adding a black or grey can help do that. You don't need to introduce new colors. You can use a theme, like this November bullet journal spread, or this entire afternoon tea setup. The thing I love the most about the bullet journal spreads is the cohesive theme throughout, but it's the same in a sketchbook. If you stick to just 3 colors or use various shades of the same color, it can make the entire page feel cohesive. Sometimes less is more, and that is especially true when it comes to paint. When you're painting something, you don't need to introduce new colors. You can reuse the same colors over and over again. It will make your art look cohesive. Number 3, add collage. This really is the best idea because you don't even need to spend money. When it comes to collage, you could just keep nice patterns you like, and I think we're gonna try and improve this page. I have these cute little pads, so we're picking out some nice muted colors, a post-it note, but I also have an entire junk drawer that unfortunately is most of the time so full I can't even open it. If you get nice packaging from food or maybe tags from clothes, there are so many everyday papers that you can keep a hold of for this idea. Sometimes envelopes are also really pretty because all you need to do when it comes to collage is tear off paper. Tear it apart. Or you can cut it neatly with scissors. Stick it in using a glue stick. It can be neat and organized, or it can be completely chaotic like this. It is completely up to you. 6 minutes, that's all it took to add various blobs of paper to this page. And that extra paper helps to raise it off the page. Makes it look 3D, makes it look interesting, adds a little bit of texture that you can feel. This is Crocodile from Peach October, and the eyes are actually collage, the tiniest bit of black paper. Sometimes I like to draw on paper, often I like to tear it off and stick it in corners. In a sketchbook, this is the best way to make your pages look aesthetic. That brown paper is just leftover packaging supplies. If you order something to your house and get any of this craft paper, honestly, keep it. It's a great way to fill up space. If you don't want to add a background, you can just draw straight on it. Or like these spreads, if you're adding multiple different art pieces to the same spread, the collage can help tie everything together. Various pieces of paper connecting each of the art. On top of that, it's fun. Honestly, it's just fun. There are so many different colors and styles that you can find, even just through keeping packaging or junk supplies that would otherwise go in the bin. And these papers really can tell a story. You can also layer one on top of the other, and that could be a good sensory experience for you. Also, if you're the kind of person that likes a big chunky sketchbook, which I kind of loved with this daily doodle diary, collage really is the way to go. However, I'll warn you, you might become a paper hoarder. It's very easily done. Number 4, be mindful of composition. It's important to bear this in mind before starting a piece, because if we grab a mild liner and try and add a nice fun background to this piece, it doesn't make it look better. You can see this bird here looks super cute, but this one is missing a tail, and that kind of destroys it. Often when I paint portraits, I will accidentally make the face too big. It's something I'm working on, and it's so easily done. But if you don't factor in composition before starting, you might end up with portraits like this, where they're all missing part of a head or a face, when they could have been like this one here. This is something I tried to work on for the 100 heads challenge the second time around, so that they're not missing any key features. But unfortunately, no matter how good the art is, it's very noticeable if there are important parts missing. Carefully plan composition, be mindful of the blank space on the page, and if there are multiple subjects like these faces, make sure you're adding something that ties them together, like these paint blobs and dots and lines. Find a way to turn those random subjects into a completed sketchbook page. Connect everything. Number 5, don't underestimate decoration. There are tons of ways to do this, and every single one is fun. First up, we have washi tape, and you might just have some of these already. I'm not sure there really is a right way to use washi tape, but when it comes to decoration, the most important part is to have fun and go with it. Like these little circle stickers, and even thinner washi tape. You can get different styles, colors, sizes. Sometimes you can overdo it. I do that quite a lot, but it's the best way to have fun whilst creating art. And in the crazy sticker collection, we can pick out any stickers. You might already have some, but another thing to bear in mind, sometimes when you buy clothes, they actually come with a sticker on the tag. I did not know that this was a thing. I threw away my Vans label on my shoes without realizing it was actually a sticker. So make sure you keep an eye out for free stickers too. You can reach for a different art supply like these acrylic markers and manually add decoration. Of course, we talked about sticking paper in, but don't forget you can also cut out your own shapes on paper and stick them in. It's like you're creating your own stickers. If you get a grocery leaflet through the post, you can cut out certain foods and stick them in. That's another fun idea. The page is looking very chaotic. Sometimes decoration can be minimal, like these cute little the stars. You could grab any marker or pen, gel pen, add various patterns like spots, stripes, stars, swirls, or even combine tissue paper, like this crazy spread here. But when you add decoration to every single page, it actually pieces it all together. Plus there's the 3D element that tissue paper has, where it lifts it off the page. These are torn up pages from a book, something you might be totally against, but remember, you can buy secondhand books very cheap, and there are a lot of pages in each one. 100 or so pages will last you years. And if you create themed pages like this Christmas spread, you could add baubles to the background and make it look a bit like wrapping paper by using tape. Decoration is an important part of making your sketchbook aesthetic because it fills in that blank space that turns it from an art piece to a sketchbook spread. Number 6. Frame your artwork. But not like that. You can use any art supply to do this, but I'm reaching for the acrylic markers for this page. We have 2 post-it notes and a lot of blank space. You can tell it was a quick doodle for the daily doodle diary, but now we want to actually turn it into a piece of art. Picking some cohesive colors and following around the edge. This is boxy because the original piece happens to be boxy, but that doesn't always have to be the case. This radish from Peach has a leafy looking frame. Burrow looks like a hole, and these faces are connected by doodly lines. Adding a frame doesn't always mean adding a border to your piece. It could be interactive like this one. It could be loose and flowy. It doesn't have to have harsh edges. It could just have a top and a bottom, or it could be a way to connect various different subjects on a page, or outline what's already there. You could highlight around a person, add an edge, add a box. Find a way to make that subject stand out, or connect 2 items together, like all these little heads. It doesn't have to be a big area, it doesn't have to be super bright, but having less blank space in your sketchbook is going to help your art stand out. Number 7. Words can tell a story. Sometimes the words can be super obvious, and your sketchbook might feel more like a journal, a diary, a place for thoughts. But you could also consider adding random words. If you can think of words that will go alongside a piece of art, maybe a character, maybe a quote, maybe thoughts or feelings, maybe it's just something silly. It could be bright, it could be bold, like this black pastel on the sketchbook page. But it could also be pastel and muted, almost like a book page or a newspaper, with the words subtly being behind. In this case, the piece of paper actually came from the new Hobonichi I got. So by adding those words, I can remember exactly what happened on that day and where that weird drawing came from. I mean, it's cool though. You could use handwriting, a bubble font, a silly font. You could even print out words and use actual text. This is something I'm personally working on. I'm by no means an expert. It's a skill, and it can make art cool whilst telling a story. Number 8. Bold line work. This is a big one, and it's something you might already be doing, but have you considered taking it one step further? Rather than just adding the black frame around your subject, have you considered adding multiple layers? Making the outline tie in with the background? Like this thick grey outline we're adding to the already grey background. Look how much this character stands out now in this sketchbook. But not only that, you can grab usually a dark color and turn a subtle muted piece into something dramatic, like this little snake here. If you block in areas with a dark color or a bright color, it's really gonna make those details pop. Like, look how much this snake is standing out on the page now. The best way to do this is by adding contrast. You want to have light colors along with those dark tones. Make sure you're hitting all of those values to get the biggest effect, to make that line work stand out. And if you don't want the line work to be super dark, keep your color palette lighter to begin with. You can even create art in themes like these, where the black line work ties everything together. You could make kooky, silly art, dramatic for no reason, or create portraits quickly. It also shows exactly where you want the focus to be on that page, so make sure you're really making the most of this technique. And hey, if you're enjoying this video, why don't you go ahead and give it a like? We have one more tip to get through, and it's a big one. Number 9, use limited colors or even monochrome. When I first started using markers, one of the best decisions I made was to reach for the markers beforehand. Grab every marker you think you're going to need for that piece and not use anything else. Keeping it simple and monochrome like this piece here, which is very pink, makes it look cohesive, it looks themed, and it looks super cute in a sketchbook. Most of the time you don't need many colors to make a striking piece. Coming from a watercolor background and having all of those colors handy in a palette, I got used to using far too many colors. Nowadays, I choose anywhere between 2 or 3 up to 10 colors, literally maximum. Sometimes 4 or 5 colors are enough. Choose your colors wisely. Opposites, complementary colors are amazing. Also monochrome and similar colors. This whole page here is literally just pink with a slightly purple gel pen, and it looks super cute. In my opinion, this is the most underrated way to make your sketchbook aesthetic. It's super simple to do. It just involves a careful decision beforehand. Stick to monochrome or simple colors and not too many, and it automatically looks good with little effort. Well, I hope you found these tips interesting. Let me know down below which one you're gonna try next. Don't forget to subscribe. Have a wonderful day, and I'll meet you back here on Thursday. Bye bye.